All right. Good day, good morning, good evening from wherever you are tuned in to this week's session on the Move to Cloud webinar series. Today, we're going to talk about the move to the SAP Digital Manufacturing. And with me, I have three SAP experts on that topic. And without further ado, just an information, if you have any question, please put that in the chat box, which in the Q&A box, which you will see below. And with that, I would hand it over to Sundar.
Thank you, Krenar. Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. So this is Sundar from Customer Evolution Program. I'm the program owner. Along with me, my colleagues Bruno and Shyam both are here. Bruno is the domain expert. Shyam is the business manager who handles APAC team and also have huge implementation experience. Today we will be talking about Cloud Acceleration Program or how our customer can move from SAP ME, MII to digital manufacturing. So the topic which we wanted to cover are here. There are six broad topics: SAP manufacturing innovations, what SAP is doing in this side with the customer adoption and product strategy. And there is some update on customer evolution program and EvoKit, through which we support our customer. And then there are transition approach and migration method available for the customers, and what are the partners and resources available, then some of the example stories. So I would like to hand over to Bruno to cover the topic number 1 and 2. Bruno, over to you.
Hello, good day. And yes, so I'm part of the Global Domain Advisory team, and I'm specialized on the manufacturing topic. And so we'll see some news from SAP Digital Manufacturing and also where you can apply it. So you can go to the next slide, Sundar. And so first, just to share with you some momentum and some dynamics on SAP Digital Manufacturing. First, we have 3 more live customers than a year ago. So it's really impressive how this solution is moving fast. Then an SFC is a product. It's the equivalent of a finished good. And now with DM, Digital Manufacturing, which is a public cloud solution, we are able to count the number of products that are manufactured with our solution. And there is 9 times more product manufactured with SAP Digital Manufacturing than a year ago. So again, a very impressive figure. And we even have a customer who produced more than 20 million products with digital manufacturing over a year. And so as you can see below, some important topics, as you can imagine, it's about AI, artificial intelligence. And we are developing more and more what we call agents on DM. So could be within DM, could be part of manufacturing agent, what we call also assistant. Because with digital manufacturing, this is the reciprocal where you will find all the detailed information needed by an artificial intelligence solution to be able to help you to produce more and to be more effective. And then, as well, as you can see, we improve as well the dispatching, and something important is the edge and automation. At the top, at the below, on the bottom part, right on side, sorry. And so here, edge and automation. Why it's important? Because edge is a component which will allow you to run your DM, digital manufacturing solution, even if you don't have any more an access to the cloud. So this is a solution that you can run locally, and as soon as the digital manufacturing solution will be back, it will resynchronize with it. So it means that you can run this solution within your plants without any outages. And on the next slide, just to share with you where digital manufacturing is in our solution, in our business suite. So as you can see here, we have a full solution, including supply chain management in the middle of this slide. And as well, something which is very important, this is everything about the agents. So you can see supply chain agents. And so the point here is that it will not only be able, these agents will not be only be able to manage the supply chain, but also to coordinate. So imagine there is an issue within your manufacturing, which implies some issues that you need to fix in the supply chain, as well, and maybe you will have to contact a customer to let him know that there will be some delays. And so in this case, the different agents will be able to work together. And so from an event happening in the manufacturing, being able to have a closed loop up to the customer which is impacted. And so this is very important here to understand this point. And within the supply chain solution and portfolio, we have what we call a design to operate business processes, end-to-end business processes. And what we will discuss today is the manufacturing part of it. So with design, you can create your product, you can engineer them. Then you can plan with our supply chain management solution like IBP. Then you can use our solution to buy, to be in direct contact with the suppliers. Then you have the manufacturing part, then the logistics part for managing the warehouse, for instance, and then and transportation, and then the operate, which is about the maintenance. And everything here in this end-to-end business is connected. And very important things. SAP acquired in 25 a solution from Lighthammer, which now later on became MII, and in 2008 a solution from VZ Price, which became EMI. And so now we are announcing the end of maintenance of these two solutions, end of current maintenance in 2027 and end of the extended maintenance in 2030. But hopefully, in 2018, the first solution developed on BTP, SAP Digital Manufacturing, has been launched. And so SAP DM, the intent of this solution is replacing ME and MII. And so as you can see here on this slide, this is a public cloud solution. So it means that this solution will be updated each quarter. So you will not accumulate technical debt within your manufacturing plants. You will be always update and at the top of the technology, especially on this time with the artificial intelligence and all the features that will be launched around AI. Then this is a solution which is able to manage both discrete and process industries. So in the same solution, this solution is also able to manage the execution and the dashboarding and cockpit, what we call manufacturing intelligence in the past. This solution is natively integrated with your SAP ERP's solution, could be ECC6, could be S4HANA, public or private. It's also integrated with your shop floor automation system. It replaces PICO, plant connectivity. So we have a direct connection with OPC standard, for instance, to be able to directly connect to PLC. And then we have these edge capabilities being something running locally on your plant, but managed from a central location. And so it means that you will never have some outages in the future. As well here, DM is built on 5 pillars. So there is the first one, which is the resource orchestration. So this is for being able to manage the different resources during a shift, during the current shift. So imagine you have IBP for long-term and mid-term planning, you have PPDS for detailed scheduling for a week, for instance. And if you want to manage everything during the shift, for instance, someone didn't show up in the morning, an operator, or you just have a piece of equipment that has an issue, so you can manage and reshuffle the planning which is during the shift and having this closed loop. Then we are able to connect to the automation as well layer with the PLCs and OPC standards. Something new, issue resolution. So for quality management, for instance, or any issue resolution, you will have a solution. It was called before QIR, quality issue resolution, and for the 8D processes. And now this is fully embedded within DM. And then DM is also able to manage the execution and the insight. And then we can move to the next slide. And here, just to summarize some key capabilities. So it's a full MES solution. So with all the functions that you are expecting from an MES solution or a MOM. And then plus, on top of that, you will have native integration. Native integration with the ERPs, S/4HANA or ECC6, with extended warehouse management, SAP WM. Imagine you have a warehouse within the plant and you need to manage inbound and outbound. And so directly you will have this integration, tight integration between the warehouses within the plant and the production. Then it's also, and it's a new solution that is being launched this month with SAP SuccessFactors, the HR solution. So for managing all the skills and capabilities of the different people, operators working on the shop floor. And then natively integrated with BDC, Business Data Cloud, for sharing all the data with the other solution from the SAP portfolio, and also integrated with Signavio. And so here we can move to the next slide here because I wanted to insist on something, because it is quite rare and a strong differentiator that this solution, SAP Digital Manufacturing, is able to manage both kind of processes, discrete and process. So we are able to manage BOM and routings, as well as we are able to manage recipes and ingredients. And so it's quite important because this is the same solution for both. And so for just for some cases, like for instance, I have in mind CPG industry, you have very often, you have both kind of processes within the same plant. You will have recipes and ingredients for strawberry flavor or chocolate flavor, for instance. And then you will have all the packaging, which is more a discrete process. So with the same solution, we are able to manage all kinds of manufacturing processes, discrete and processes. And then we can move to the next slide. Something quite important. This is all the features regarding AI. As you can imagine, and probably knows, we are very strongly investing on AI at SAP. This is a full bet on AI. And so already today, you have AI capability directly included within DM. For instance, natural language query. You will be able to speak in natural language and ask, for instance, to the solution, please give me the top 3 issues we are encountering within our plant on the production line number 1. Or what are the top products that have some defects? Or what are the less performance in terms of OE? And so you don't have to build up a ton of queries. You just need to interrogate in natural language the solution. Then quality management, visual inspection. You can make some visual inspection with a camera and on products to sort them or to be sure that they are good, that there is no defect on them. As well, we have integrated for previously QIR some solution able to, if you have a similar issue in the past, you can interrogate your solution and say, okay, hey, which kind of process did we put in place to address such issue? And automatically the solution will give you the process that you put in place in the past. And then on the right-hand side, very important thing, SAP Digital Manufacturing. This is the receptacle where you will find all the granular information, not you, but the AI. All the AI agents, they will find the granular information needed to improve your processes. And so it will not be for DM only, but this will be the foundation where the AI agents will find all the data they need to perform their improvement within your processes and to suggest improvements. And on the next slide, let's talk about digital manufacturing strategy and where you can find some improvement and value, I would say, with DM. First, it could be on the left-hand side, it could be to replace a solution that you have already in place, or for a new production line where you want to put in place a full MES or a MOM, Manufacturing Operation Management Solution. And with DM, you will have all the features and all the native integrations that you need. Then, as well, you can say, okay, maybe I will not install a full MES solution, full-blown solution, but I would like to start to take benefit of the AI. And for instance, I would like to put in place some OE on steroids and being able to, in a natural language, having a discussion with my AI to help me to improve my production and my efficiency. And so here you can use DM for this purpose, for this OE purpose. And then on the right-hand side, maybe you, and I have some example in mind, maybe you want to put in place a solution that covers all the horizons of your supply chain management. You can start with IBP for SNOP, then for demand management, move to PPDS for the production planning and detailed scheduling, and then go to DM to manage the resource orchestration during the shift. And having a closed loop, so immediately, if you encounter an issue during the production on a piece of equipment, for instance, being able to go to close the loop and go up to the customer and being able to reach the customer who can be impacting and let him know that maybe it will not be delivered today but tomorrow. And then we can move to the next slide just to share some idea regarding the value, some figures regarding the value of implementing SAP Digital Manufacturing on your solution. So as you can imagine, you can reduce the manufacturing cycle time because you will improve your OE. You can also be much more efficient for the delivery because you have a tight integration between the execution part within the plant and the logistics. Because, for instance, DM and EWM are tightly integrating. So it means that you can improve your process and be more efficient within the delivery process. Then also, you will have a lot of capabilities to introduce to do what we call new product introduction. So you will be able to reduce the ramp up to the full production and the time to market by 24%. And as well, it is proven that you will be able to produce more with the same number of FTE. You can be 55% more effective by implementing a solution like SAP Digital Manufacturing than if you are still running on paper, for instance. And then that's all for me for the presentation of SAP Digital Manufacturing by itself. And so I let Sundar explain you what we put in place to facilitate its adoption.
Okay, great. Thank you, Bruno. Actually, I'm here to talk about how we support our customer in terms of the customer, those who are having install-based software. So here we have the Customer Evolution Program. This is a holistic program to support all our customer. On the left side, if you could see if they are in ECC or if they are in old ME, MII, or any of the legacy system which you may have, you have support already available. So there is a huge potential for all of our customer like you to get the support from us directly, which is free of cost, right? So you have some of the portal link available, which can be shared here, support portal, partner portal to reach out the partner, and the registration page if you need help from us. So we support basically a term called Customer Evolution Kit. This is being the service available. The reason is, if you look at the approach for the cloud migration, the Gartner says three broad category. One is lift and shift, another one is lift and optimize, another one is lift and transform. The lift and shift is typically you take your current app and solution, put it in a new infrastructure or cloud. Lift and optimize is you change some of your process and function feature which may not be working today. And then lift and transform is you are completely transforming your current infrastructure with a new architecture and extensive refactoring, which will be shooting for today's business world, along with AI, agentic AI, and more, voice-based command to ask anything, like Bruno explained. So the benefit is high in the third category. At the same time, the effort and cost implement also a little bit high. So how we can do that in effective ways, Shyam will be talking in the next topic. So because the lift and shift, lift and transform is quite a bit of task customer has to do. So we offer a free support called Customer Evolution, right? So this is available for all the customer who are having already ME, MII solution. When we go to a customer, they don't just have ME, MII, they may have another legacy system or their homegrown apps developed in top of ME, MII. So we do go through the complete detail of your infrastructure, current process, use case, business requirement, and we study why you need to move from A to B, and then what all the necessary step has to be done, how we can support that, right? This we can do remotely sometime, either on-site, we can do one-on-one session with customer. So we study your complete entire landscape, and then we come up with a point of view and path forward how we support it. We also tightly collaborate with product strategy team in case there are requirements which is not suiting your current available function feature, then we also influence the roadmap with product team, right? So this is all our install base customer can get this free service. So this is the rough flow looks like. So we give the existing overview of existing solution. We do a complete business process discovery for your landscape, either it's global or regional. So we have seen many customers using number of plants, like more than 50. In 50 plants, maybe 5 plants you may not be already having MEMII. So in that's the right plant to start with. In some case, you can also start with 1 or 2 plants. But for the study purpose, it depends how the customer want to do. Some goes by region, some goes by global, but we study the entire landscape and then prepare a point of view document. And we also come up with the approach on how you can transform from A to B into cloud, and then what kind of approach you can use. And then you can also avail our product demo, which is available from SAP as well as our partner. We also have Industry 4 demo live, which is available in Newton Square and in Japan, in Waldorf, in Bangalore, based on the region the customer in. So the account owner can able to take you to the factory kind of setup where it demonstrates the complete product flow, how the digital manufacturing supports along with EWM and transportation management and entire shop floor end-to-end connectivity, right? So all that can be availed for an install-based customer, which is free, to make sure that you are aware that what SAP has better solution than today's in a legacy solution. Then we can also showcase how that can be transformed to new solution. So this is a typical way how this looks like. Typically, the overall time effort may be 40 to 60 hours to come back with you on a point of view based on what you have today, including your ME, MII plus other legacy and custom solution in your landscape. So typically the customer may walk through us. It may take like 8 to 12 hours roughly based on your complexity. You walk us through the complete detail on what you have today, how you are using today, demo to us. Then we'll come back with you on all the use case, fit gap analysis, and roadmap detail, how you can transform your current digital, transform from your current MII to digital manufacturing to be architecture and to be solution, right? So the participant list is here. All the business people and SMEs, IT lead participates in this workshop. So this is a two-way process. Initially, we get all the information, then we come back with you on all the details or how we can support and what use case is supported, how we can transform. So this available service is free and it is available through SAP as well as through partner. And then how we can approach once this is done. So I'll hand out to Shyam. He's from APAC region. Shyam, over to you.
Thanks, Sundar. So, hi everyone. So once the CEP evaluation is done, when we have a clear point of view on what are the capabilities that SAP DM offers and how it can be mapped to the existing requirements of the customer, usually we go with two options, wherein option one, we go with a proof of concept, which is primarily used to validate any key capabilities that the customer has in mind. For example, there are specific cases which I can quote. Let's say we have customers who had a good coverage of fit to standard requirement from DM to their existing capabilities of MII. But then there are few capabilities where customer would like to specifically test before they make sure this DM addresses their requirement to the fullest. So in such cases, they choose an option for a proof of concept where they take specific capabilities, discuss them, implement it, and run it and see in a kind of a non-productive environment, just to ensure that the solution aligns to the overall perspective of the fitment. But then when the customer sees the bigger opportunity of taking it out into the bigger implementation, in that cases, what happens is we will have a better opportunity to start a pilot. Let's say, for example, we have example of a medical technology company where after the assessment, we were able to find out that the solution that DM offers provides a greater fit to the current MI implementation. So in such cases, the customer decides to go with the pilot itself. So just to reiterate on a couple of points on proof of concept, right? So proof of concept is a really very short time bound, and we define specific success criteria associated to, maybe it could be integration scenarios, it could be in terms of functional scenarios, or it could be in a capability of user interfaces, wherein these are specific capabilities defined against success criteria, and evaluation of it will be done at the end of the proof of concept, so that the major update is that we gain customer confidence in each of these success criteria, which will enhance us to position DM for their future use. In case of a pilot, if you can go to the next slide, wherein it is more of a productive usage of the application itself in the case of DM, wherein we can take one productive line or a particular process into consideration, and then we try to implement an end-to-end solution compared to what we have in a proof of concept. Here in the MVP, that is minimum viable product or a pilot, we target an end-to-end implementation of a process wherein the final result of it will be a production deployment, which means we are providing with a scalable solution to start with, thereby adding more lines and complexities once you learn the application to the max. So that's the two approach predominantly we will be taking care when it comes to the after action of a CEP. Now, how does it translate into a larger transition plans? Once we have the proof of concepts or pilots done, we will have a clear direction in terms of how the solution can be adopted at a larger scale. So which means if you're doing a proof of concept, the pilot would be the next step wherein we can choose one or multiple sites for manufacturing, depending upon the usage of MII. Choose them as part of your pilot sites, go with the implementation, and then subsequently take this as a global rollout for other sites of manufacturing. If the pilot is already done, as we talked about the option number 2, then once the pilot is stabilized, we go into a global rollout phase and we add more plant specific requirements when we go into the global rollout. The next one, how do we do it in mass? And that's when Sundar mentioned about the lift and shift. From SAP services, we also offer a process accelerator here, wherein we take the code that we have in MII, that is the transactions and the queries that we have, and we kind of move them into our platform, which is the BTP, so that these services can be readily consumed by SAP Digital Manufacturing. So anything that you have already invested in developing in MII can be easily moved or migrated to the platform, cloud platform, and thereby the digital manufacturing solution extends itself and uses those as a services, extendable services, and hence the effect in terms of development of these requirements again in the cloud is minimized. So how does it typically happen? So we do the typical initial MII assessment as part of CEP, wherein we try to map the standard capabilities of digital manufacturing to the current requirements as a step 2. After the mapping, we usually end up in identifying what are the key gaps that needs to be developed or migrated so that the solution can be offered in full. Then in parallel, step 4 and step 5 happens, wherein in step 4, we configure the standard DM solution for the solution fits, and the process accelerator that we talked about brings in the content from the MII side to the cloud so that these two are currently now residing in the cloud platform. Then, as a last step before the production setup, we extend the DM solution to hook the necessary services at the process point so that the logic of validation, or it could be data transformation, is complete and the solution is readily deployed in the production environment. So that's how we are planning for a larger transition and a more far efficient time-specific transition as well. So with that, I give it back to Sundar.
Thank you, Shyam. So here are some other helps available beside our SAP service and migration approach, how transitioning from MII to TM. We also have a partner to reach out for your activation of the service. So this link has the registration where you can register if you need help from us or from partner to support your transition, like how Shyam was mentioning. The initial assessment is completely free of service on how we support your transitioning roadmap, right? So once you decided this is the right fit, then the next step can be the implementation. The implementation also can be done either by SAP services or by partner. So we have huge partner list here, so which we are working closely with. All these partners can be reached out to directly because we have globally thousands of customers. SAP alone cannot able to support that, right? So we go with also partner, and please also reach out to us if you need help on this. And now with that, I have to hand out back to Bruno for some of the customer success stories. Bruno.
Thank you, Sundar. Yeah, and so maybe we can go to the first of them at Odense. Yeah, so just I selected some examples from different industries, so you can see different cases and also different value that we provided by implementing SAP Digital Manufacturing. So Odense, they are very well known in the UK, and they are specialized in the furniture for kitchen. And as you can imagine, this is a very transforming industry and kind of business because everybody wants its own kitchen. So you don't want to go anymore to somewhere and having the same kitchen that your neighbor. You want something just fitted for you, to have some personalized product. And to allow this transformation, Audens decided to move from their current solution that they had to SAP Digital Manufacturing to help them to be able to produce personalized, I could say even highly personalized product. And so they have amazing improvement within their efficiency to produce this very personalized product. So this is for Audens. We can have another example on the next slide. For a medical device manufacturer. So here, the top issue and the top challenge, I would say more than issue, this is the GXP compliance. GXP meaning being able to demonstrate to the authority that you are able to manage your production, your manufacturing processes. You know what is happening within your plant. You can explain who did what and so on and so forth. So this is very important. It's as well important than producing a good. This is being able to demonstrate to have all the full traceability regarding what's happening to these goods when you manufacture it. And this is what we were able to achieve at Raumedic, to be able to make them compliant with the GXP and being able for them to have a global template to assemble the processes developed for all their factories. It means that now their manufacturing processes are consistent from a factory to another, and that they are able to demonstrate exactly to have the full traceability regarding who is doing what, which suppliers part have been implemented on which equipment, and so on and so forth. A third example here, this is Aquatherm. Aquatherm, they are producing hoses for the houses. So you can imagine all kind of hoses that you have in your house or in a building for water, gas, air, and so forth. And here, the point was being able to have a full visibility regarding their production, because they have 6 production lines to manage. And so they have to be sure regarding what is happening on which production line to be able to balance the activities on and the work orders on the different production lines, and optimize the use of these production lines all along the day. So here again, we were able to reduce the time spent by the operator on personal computer activities and by 90%. And so now everything has been automatized, and the time is dedicated to improve the processes rather than to have to key some information within the system. And on the fourth example, which is Topsoe. So here this is an example regarding process industry. This is a producer of chemicals. And so the point here, this is to being able to have the same kind of processes, that they are able to manage from a plant to another one. From the plant that they have in Americas, and having the same quality and the same processes applied than what they are doing, manufacturing in their plant in China, for instance. So here again, what was very important for them was being able to have these harmonized processes all across their plants. And by doing that, and they have been able to digitize 100% of their processes. And also what is important, this is the time to implement such a solution. They have been able to roll out the solution within 9 months in their different plants. So that's different examples that I wanted to share with you across different industry with different challenges. Sometimes this is about pure efficiency. If you are an automotive suppliers, for instance, it's about cost and efficiency. If you are in medical device, the top challenge is about GXP and being able to demonstrate that you are able to fulfill all these regulations, and as well share with you some example in discrete manufacturing as well as in process manufacturing. So that's it for me, Sundar.
Thank you, Bruno. Is there any additional topic you want to cover? So here is the contact information for us. So Bruno, if you don't have anything to add further, so maybe we'll hand over back to Krenar.
I had a look in the Q&A. I didn't see any Q&A yet, so it's still time if you want to ask some question in the Q&A section. And if it's not during this session, we can come back to you with further answers or more detailed answer if you want. So feel free to send us an email. You have here our email addresses where you can join us, and we'll be pleased to support you in your request.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you for that, Sundar and Bruno. Do you have any questions on that session? I'll give the participants some time. In the meantime, let me inform you that we will continue next week, Tuesday, with our next session in this webinar series, where we talk about SAP Cloud Application Service for best practice cloud operation. That's going to be the next session. In the meanwhile, do we have any additional question from the participants joining, or do we have someone that wants to speak up? Okay. So far, I see no questions raised from the participants. So I leave it with you, Sundar, if you have any additional comments you want to add before we close it.
Yeah, the only comment is that I know the digital transformation is a little bit overwhelming, because a lot of customers we have seen is they have 40 to 50 plants. Some plants are still running on paper, not digitalized. Some are in MII landscape. So we support that, like Bruno mentioned. So the digitalization 100% can be done. Either you are using MII or still working on the paper, right? So when we study, we look for all the use cases where we can make it highly standard, because the standardization of process is more important when you deploy your AI, agentic AI, because underlying data model is going to be supporting that, right? So we look for that, how much we can standardize, how much we cannot. So like Shyam mentioned, we have very nice migration tool is also available from SAP, which can reduce 40 to 50% of our custom code transformation, because we have seen a lot of customers using custom app on top of a MII, which some of them may not be available immediately in the product, which can be migrated easily, right? So the tool is continuously improving, and it's being tested and deployed with several customers with Shyam's team. They have wonderful experience, can be highly useful for you if you have a complex implementation. So overall, we are here to support you in your transformation journey from your legacy to the cloud world, as much as is possible. So please feel free to reach out to us for any further help needed. Either SAP or partner can help. Back to you, Krenar.
Okay. Super. Thank you, Sundar. Okay. No additional questions. So if someone wants to speak up and ask a question, that's your moment. Otherwise, I would close the session and again inform you that we will continue on the 10th March with a session on SAP Cloud Application Service for best practice cloud operation. That's going to be the next session next week, Tuesday. Okay, I see that we don't have any further questions. questions with that. Thank you very much, Sundar. Thank you very much, Bruno. Thank you very
Welcome.
much, Shyam, for that very insightful session. We will upload the recording into our YouTube channel, which you can, the usual one. Let me just quickly add the link to it. That's where we upload the session. And it's this channel here. I just added in the in the chat box. Let me stop the recording.